Hi folks, welcome back to the Horde. Still haven't fixed the clock, so it's about noon. April 22nd, Tuesday, 19.3 degrees centigrade. You can see my little green lights on there. It's almost 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's see what Blinky has to say. 64 degrees. So, somewhere close. As I was putting this together, I was thinking back to my old shop teacher, and actually I had two shop teachers that kind of had a impact on my life, both in high school. And for the heck of me, I can't remember their names. I think there was a Mr. McGovern, Mick something, and there might have been more than one person with the Irish surname, the Mick. It wasn't a Mac. I'm pretty sure it was a Mick. Anyway, I just particularly I remember particularly the one of them was an older gentleman who retired from some other occupation and then became a shop teacher. And he was a cranky old son of a gun. And his way of dealing with kids was to basically torment them, to insult and torment them, and be such a difficult type of individual that you didn't mess with him, that he was already on you and already tormenting you, so the last thing you wanted to do was go poke your finger in his eye, because that just gave him delight. It gave him more reason to torment you, right? That was his way of dealing with kids. And particularly, the reason why I'm thinking about the story is I learned to weld under his tutelage, and he would look at your weld, and he would figure out what was kind of important to you in your life, and he would insult that. So kind of, if you had a girlfriend, he would look at your welds, like I am now, and he would say, "Nice welds. I hope you kiss better than you weld," or he would, depending on how well he knew you and if he thought he could get away with it. Though back then, when you're talking the middle 70s, people got away with a lot more in the United States. He'd look at your weld and he'd say something along the lines of, "I hope you screw better than you weld," or "I hope I hope you ride your motorcycle better than you weld," or he'd figure out some way of kind of putting your face in it, and if you did a good job, a really, really good job, he would look at it and say, "Not bad, Spooner. I could do it better than that, but, everything considered, not bad." So, after a while, I did a lot of welding, because I always had some project I was playing with. And I started calling him Mr. More Better, because everything he did was more better than I could do. So he used to find that amusing, "Hey, Mr. More Better, what do you think of this?" And he'd come up and, not bad. I could still do it better than you. And I'd laugh and he'd laugh. What I liked about him is, as you're kind of going through high school back in my day, some of us took more study halls than we took classes. Yeah, I wasn't the greatest student. And he would let me go down and use the equipment during his classes. Or if he had a shop class, I'd be able to go in and, if somebody wasn't arc welding, I would arc weld, or if somebody wasn't using a lathe, I'd be able to use the lathe. So, and what he'd get out of it is, if he was busy, I'd keep a half an eye on the class for him, or I'd show somebody how to use the lathe or how to arc weld and so forth. I actually got halfway decent at it. But then, you know, a whole bunch of time goes by and you kind of forget. So, given that I am not the best welder in the world anymore. Some people, they can draw a bead and do a really good job. I mean, as I'm looking at these welds, some of them are too cold, and there's not a lot I can do about it. My machine doesn't turn up. So to get a hotter weld, you can get a little closer. You can shorten your arc a little bit, and that'll make it a little hotter. You could slow your wire feed down and you know, kind of spend more time in one place, kind of, so to speak, I guess. But anyhow, with a lot of wire feed, you can really blast along, and that doesn't really give it enough time to heat up and penetrate. Or one could actually heat the metal up before you weld. But with all the stupidity I got in here, the last thing I want to do is bring a flame into it. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and once again, as the lift is pulling, right, the lift is going to be pulling this toward the post, right, there's really a lot of stress. So as I was thinking about it, I was thinking a lot of this stress is not only toward me, toward the camera, but it's also downward. So what I did was I ended up putting 3 of these braces in. When the stress is transmitted through this piece here, I wanted to feed through these well. And I also don't want this thing to push backwards. So not only I'm going to also attach it to the bottom of the post. The bottom of the post I welded in. And actually, I normally don't weld vertically, but the weld didn't come out half bad, so I was kind of pleased about that. I have to kind of trim this weld back so I can smash that in nice and tight. What I've done up here is, as I squeeze through, not well, I ended up double walling this, so to speak, so that all the stress isn't just on a weld, right? It's on this entire collar and this collar, and you could see that this actually slips under here. I cut an angle. It slips under here, so the stress on this goes into this entire collar. This will all be welded up. This will be welded up, and it'll put the strain into this. I also like the idea, because you see the way this is here, I can just slide it in and put a pin, right? Put a pin and actually keep it up here. So just to show you how it's progressing, and that's a pretty stout triangle, because I really am hoping to be able to, right now this is only welded down here, but I'm hoping to be able to, right, pull back on this. I don't want to do it too much, because then I'll bend it and it'll be all out of whack. I went through the trouble of leveling everything, and just to start out with, I mean, obviously I have plenty of play, but if you look, you can see I'm pretty good. Once again, right? See, very nice. I still have play in this whole situation, so far from perfect. So there we are. Anyway, I just wanted to show a little more progress and talk about my shop teacher. I enjoyed shop when I was in high school. In the area I live in New York, I guess perhaps we have too many lawyers or something. A lot of the schools have given up teaching shop. If you want to learn shop, you have to go to BOCES, which is a cooperative, between all the schools. And basically, you can't just take A shop classes in, 45 or 47 or 52 minutes, however long your classes are in whatever school you're in, of shop. You basically have to go to learn how to become an auto mechanic or a body man or whatever no, I don't even think they do body at BOCES. I think you have to go and learn how to be basically a mechanic, and there's a certain amount of welding and so forth. Most of the high schools and all gave up shop because they're afraid of the lawsuit. See that? It goes right down. Bang. They're afraid of lawsuits, of kids injuring themselves, and then their parents getting cranky and suing the school district, and that leads to expenses that nobody wants to incur, whether your insurance company pays for it or it goes to it comes out of the school budget, right? The school has to pay it off in the end. You guys could see I got a lot of, well, you can't see, all you can see is one loose wheel here, but I'm going through a lot of these thicker pieces of metal, and as I got going on the project, I'm kind of looking at it thinking to myself, oh, this is cool. See, there's 3 wheels. I think there's another one floating around. This is really cool. It's only a matter of time, and I should I should have some leftover metal. I'm going to have some leftover of the inch and a half box, and it turns out that's not true. I'm not going to have, I'm going to have like less than 5 foot left over when I'm all done, right? Because that's about 2.5 feet there. I got this piece here, which takes me up to 3.5, less than 4. Yeah, so I guess it's a good project when you have just a few scrap pieces left and it adds up to less than 4 feet. I did look around a bit. I was hoping to have a longer piece of this stuff. This is the piece I have, but I was hoping for a longer piece. And if that were the case, I was basically going to put it on top of these, weld it down, but given that I don't have that, I'll go with what I do have. Alright folks, been babbling for 13 minutes. Thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down and your head up, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Horde. Hopefully by that time you'll see this thing going up and down, powered by that. So, just wanted to show you kind of where it's at and fill you in on some of my thinking, because once I put the winch on it and start dragging it up and down, and especially once those arc type plates are over the ends of these here, you won't be able to tell exactly what I did, and though I can talk about it, it would be hard to describe, so easier to just show you guys while it's still in the state it's in. Okay, take care, talk to you soon.